Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mentor Mondays. My name is Mason I.B. West. I'm the College Director at the Law of Life Institute. Every Monday, I share thoughts in what I have called deep conversations with singles. I share thoughts based on love life strategies and principles that I believe will help anybody navigate through the deep waters of dating, of relationships, of love as we prepare for marriage. I believe that you're set for today because some of the things that we're going to share are going to change the way you think. But I believe you have some loved ones that you think ought to be part of what we're sharing. I'll give you a minute to go out there, get them involved, share the link, tell people about this, get as many people involved, get as many people involved as it is possible, so that we can send out the message of hope faster and quickly and get people to be on track, and then we can reduce the pain that we've seen all over the place. Today we're going to continue our focus on why people remain in abusive marriages. Now listen to this. After love, blind love, lack of self-worth is the next reason why a lot of people stay in abusive marriage. And that's what I want to focus on today. Now listen to this. Any woman who is a celebrity in her own rights, who is the breadwinner of her own house, which means that she doesn't even need the man, she doesn't even depend on him, has no right, neither does she have any reason to remain in an abusive marriage. However, this statement can be defeated by a lack of self-worth. Trust me. Listen, it is possible to be a jewel of inestimable worth and you don't even know. It's absolutely possible. Listen, it takes a conscious working knowledge of your worth to not let another human being, another mortal, reduce you to bread or mess with you. Listen, if any woman remains in an abusive marriage, she has a measure of mental health issues. Any woman that remains in an abusive marriage, and I'm making a profound statement, and I stand to be corrected. Any woman, and that extends to a man. I hear that men also suffer abuse. Any woman, and especially physical abuse, any woman that remains in an abusive marriage has a measure, especially the woman that is capable of managing the business, running things for herself, but she decides to stay in an abusive marriage, especially physically abusive marriage. The woman has mental issues. She needs help. It's so important. And let me even take it one step further. Even if you are not the breadwinner, even if you are not sufficiently independent, there is a sense of value that you place on yourself with clearly defined boundaries that will forbid anybody, no matter how highly placed, from crossing certain lines. It's your sense of worth, it's your sense of value that makes you define these lines and these boundaries. Listen. And let me say this to everyone that is not yet married, everyone that is single or dating or in courtship or in any kind of relationship. Listen, an unimpeachable ounce of self-worth is a non-negotiable qualification for marriage. Without a measure of self-worth, you are not qualified to get married. You have no business getting married. This is so important. I did a 7-part series on what it means to be single, and those of us that are battling emotionally with being single. So you check up my YouTube channel, and then you get all them series, and it's going to be a lot of blessing to you. Listen, being single is not necessarily when you are not married. No. 1,000 times no. Being single means that you have been able to attain capacity to be complete to be whole and to be independent, both emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and financially. Unless you have attained that capacity where you are complete by yourself, you are whole by yourself, you are independent by yourself, both emotionally, very importantly, spiritually, and mentally, and then financially. Until you get to that point, you have not attained singleness. Especially the first three, emotional, spiritual, and mental intactness, is what defines singleness. Listen, it includes, but is not limited to, that you have come to a point where you do not require another individual's input to be able to achieve happiness and fulfillment. Until you get to that point, you are not qualified to be married. You are a risk for marriage. You are not mentally fit. You are not emotionally fit. You are not stable enough for marriage. This is important. It's not negotiable, and I'm not going to change my mind about it. If you're still at that place where unless people come in to make you happy, to make you find fulfillment, to make you emotionally, spiritually, and mentally stable, and even financially, unless you have input from people, then you're not stable enough for marriage. Listen, and listen. Self-worth is enhanced by an understanding of who you are. That's where self-worth begins. And so there are 7 questions you must answer to be able to come to the place of worth, value, critical self-esteem, for making marriage a reality, a possibility, a fulfillment, and for longevity in marriage. Number 1, you must answer the question. You must discover you. Until you discover you, you're not qualified for marriage. So you must answer the question, who are you? And please answer that question without telling me you're from XYZ village, without telling me your name is this, your father is this, you studied chemistry. That's not you. That's not you. You only studied law. You only had some legal education and knowledge. You are not a lawyer. You had some exposure to medical science. You are not a doctor. That is who you are before you studied medicine. So you must be able to define, who are you? Where are you from? Listen, there's a sense in which when you know where you're coming from, knowing that I'm the son of a king, means that there are certain treatments, there are certain handling from people that I'm not going to take. Who are you? Where are you coming from? Why are you here? Where are you going? I know you're going there, but on the journey, where are you at now? What are your God-given abilities that you need to take you there? Those God-given abilities that you have already presently, and what are those abilities that you lack but that you must need to be able to get there? Abilities that you need to begin to work on. And then the next question is, what are you doing right now about these 7 questions? Profound. Listen, until you can answer these questions with precision, satisfactorily, you should not get married. Please don't get married. You end up in liability, you'll end up a burden, you'll end up placing the demand for your happiness and fulfillment on somebody else, and that burden is too wicked, too bad to place, too much to place on somebody else. Nobody can make you happy. Nobody can make you fulfilled. And so as soon as these things are clearly defined and in place, then you probably are set for marriage. Like I said, without a reasonable quotient of self-worth and esteem, value for yourself, you shouldn't get married. Because once you have clear value for yourself, you will clearly define your boundaries. You will clearly define what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. And somebody in your life will just know certain things they can't do with you. Certain things they can't mess around with you. If people mess with you once and twice and thrice, they are not mad. You are the one that is mad. Something is fundamentally wrong with you. That's why people mess with you all of the time.